Hey, Ambitchious, it's me, your fearless leader, and I am just coming here today, and I am just going to speak some victory into you. I'm just feeling it. I also am going to just drop some truth bombs that maybe aren't going to make you feel so fresh. But as you all know, I am not a light worker. I work in the shadows, and I like to pull out the darkest parts of you and hold the mirror up to you so that you can have just a good talking to yourself. I mean, we all need a good, just sit yourself down and just wag that finger and say, what the fuck are you doing, bitch? Because it ain't the most. And my deepest desire is always to inspire and motivate and educate and entertain. And my biggest thing as well is really, truly to be the person for you that maybe you never had. I know growing up, I didn't have a lot of female role models. I didn't have a lot of really close girlfriends. I was kind of like a loner, a rebel. I had a lot of friends, but I really didn't have a lot of close friends. And I always thought I was different. People just didn't like me. But the truth of the matter is that I just was never taught how to be that person. So over my past 20 plus years in the coaching, motivational, inspirational space, I have worked with a lot of incredible role models. I've read thousands of books. I've trained hundreds of thousands of women at this point in my career, and I know what I'm doing. And the only thing that's different between me and most people, most women, is that I just know how to pull myself out of the shit pit a lot quicker than most. And it's only because I have compiled tangible, real tools, not esoteric bullshit, not woo-woo, love, peace, and hair grease bullshit. I can't stand that stuff. You guys know that's not my vibe. But I'm talking about real tangible tools that make a difference. And by me just stopping my day and coming here to you out of the goodness of my heart, it's really because I deeply desire to help women not feel pain. I deeply desire to have women have everything that they desire in their lives, because you can have it all. You can have an incredible body. You can have a perfect relationship with a spouse. You can be a great mom. You can be a great friend. You can have money. You can have freedom. You can have happiness and joy, and it's your fucking birthright to have those things. But there's certain things that we have to do, and there's certain truths that we have to understand, and there's certain lies that we have to excommunicate from our lives so that we can be the HBICs of our ambitious lives. So I meditate every day, as you know, and I usually come out of meditation, like just always, spirit always speaks to me during my meditations. And when I come out of meditations, I usually just like jot down really quickly all the things that came up to me. And I want to share some of the things that came up to me today in my meditation with you. Hopefully it resonates with you, and fingers crossed that it inspires you to be the best bitch that you can be, because none of us should be sad bitches. We should only be bad bitches, right? Okay, so the first thing I want to say to you, and this is going to come off very harsh, but here the fuck I am, okay? I just want you to admit to yourself that you are where you are in your life because you want to be there. What does that mean? If you are 100 pounds overweight, you want to be there. If you have a failing marriage where you don't connect with your spouse and there's no communication, and the last time you saw his penis was the Reagan administration, you are there because you want to be there. If you are sick, if you have an inflammatory disease, if you are living in a home where it would put the hoarder house to shame, you are there because you want to be there. And I know right now you're like, bitch, I am clicking off this video. Well, if you have the labia of steel that I know you do, you're not going to click off this video. You're going to listen to what I'm going to say, because When we take radical responsibility for where we are in our lives, everything can change. Everything. Okay. So when people, for example, and I started my career as a health coach. I have degrees in nutrition and exercise science. I have trained some of the biggest supermodels in the world. I've had my own television show about what I did called Wicked Fit. I was the official coach to Miss Universe, Miss USA, and Miss America. Like, I have been around town a few times, so I can say this out loud. If you're 100 pounds overweight and you are sick, you're pre-diabetic, or you already have type 2 diabetes, that is also, you're having hormonal problems, your face is acne, you look old, you're tired all the time, you have no sex drive, you're there because in some way, shape, and form, it's serving you to keep that weight and to keep yourself sick. I have had so many clients that I've done this work with, and they get so mad at me, and then they are like, oh my God, you're right. So for example, I had a client years ago who would have these ocular migraines. They were like the worst migraines in the world. Like, literally, she was losing her eyesight because of these migraines. And this fluid was leaking into her retina or cornea or some shit. I'm not an ophthalmologist, but you know what I'm saying? And it was scarring her eye tissue. And her ophthalmologist pretty much said, like, you're probably not going to be able to see in a year. You're probably going to totally lose your eyesight. And she was only 32 years old. Okay. And I was like, girl, like, this is not a physical ailment. This is an energy sickness. And she was like, I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't understand what you're talking about. And I said, when you get these ocular migraines, what happens? She goes, well, I get a migraine and I have to tell my husband I have a migraine. I have to go lay down. And I said, okay, so you tell your husband you have this migraine and then you go lay down. And how long do you lay down for? She's like, well, at least 2 to 3 hours. It just really wipes me out. It really just beats the shit out of me. And I said, and how do you feel, when you're laying in that bed? She goes, well, I'm in pain because I have this migraine, but I feel so stress-free in a way because I'm not taking care of she had 5 kids. I'm not taking care of my 5 kids. I'm not cleaning the house. I'm not answering emails. I'm not listening to my husband bitch and complain about the dog or whatever. And I said to myself, I'm like, that's really interesting. I said, why don't you just tell your husband, I don't know, hey, I need to go in the other room for an hour and flick my bean or watch Real Housewives of Potomac or eat a fucking Haagen-Dazs. Like, why can't you say that? She's like, well, I don't want him to think, that I'm not a good mom, that I'm not a team player and all these things. And when you peel the fucking onion down to the nub, she was giving herself these migraines so that she had an excuse to go and take an hour to herself in a quiet room away from her 3 dogs, 5 children, and husband who was a dickhead. And when we unpacked that, and then we went into that healing session together, she never had a migraine ever again. And she found her voice, and she told her husband to pound sand and take the kids to Chuck E. Cheese so that she could go into her bedroom and flick her bean and watch The Real Housewives and eat some Ben and Jerry's. This is a true story. So do you understand what I'm saying? It's serving you in some way to be sick or fat or broke. It is. And once you can say, yes, it's serving me in some way, shape, and form, then you can shift it. You can take radical responsibility, because part of being ambitious is taking radical responsibility for your life. So what I want you to do today is I want you to sit down in quiet, and I want you to write things about your life that you don't like. It could be that you're 20 pounds overweight. It could be that you are single and you really desire to have a soulmate connection with someone else in the world. You may not have good peer groups. You may be lazy. Your house may be a mess. It might be disorganized and dirty. You may not have financial freedom. You might not even have any finances whatsoever. You could be broke. You could be in bankruptcy. Whatever it is. And if you want to take a blueprint, use the 6 life makers and breakers. Go through each one and say, okay, what is my spiritual connection like? And where would I like to improve? What are my boundaries and my feelings like? And where would I really like to improve? What is my health and wellness like? And where would I desire to improve? What is my environment of my home like? And where does it need improvement? Right? And what about my relationships? What about my relationships really need some work? And last but not least, where am I financially? Where's my money mindset? Am I a rich bitch or am I a broke hoe? And where did the places in these 6 life makers and breakers need improvements? Write that all down. And then I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to be real honest with yourself, okay? Because remember, being ambitious is radical responsibility and fucking truth, okay? No matter how much it hurts. I want you to write down all the ways that these things that are lacking in your life are actually serving you in some way. This is what shadow work is all about. And I would just eat it up if we could have this conversation over on the Ambitchious app. I want to know all the things. Okay. And your bitchhood, all those other women on that app want to know all the things because they're going to be sharing their stuff with you as well. So that we can start healing these parts of us. So we can start really doing the healing work. I'm so excited to do this with you. I hope that I didn't come off too harsh, but I don't use coded language. I just say it like it is. If people don't like it, it's not on me, it's on you. If you don't like what I said today to you, if you're pissed off at me, ask yourself why. What nerve or chord did I strike in you that you know that what I'm saying is true? And then let's move on and have a better relationship because you know I'm your bitch and you know I'm here for you and I won't give up on you. All right, let's have this conversation over on the app. I can't wait. And in the meantime, don't forget to stay ambitious.